Hey guys, I'm gonna get to work on doing a little bit of stuff to the car today. One of the things I'm planning on doing is adding the hood latch poppers, getting that set up, and then possibly maybe doing a little bit of welding on a few things, and go from there. There's some things here and there that need to do, but like I said, the main thing, I can work on the metal work a little bit. But I'm still waiting on those motor mounts. Still haven't heard when they should show up. I need to call and find out. But there's a few little odds and end things I can do to it. But I'll get to work and bring y'all along. So what I'm going with here is I'm going with these these hood latch poppers. So these right here will get mounted into the hood itself. It's got a large spanner wrench nut that fits on the back, and then these will get mounted onto the support right here, where I've already pulled out the old they were like a not like a rib nut, but they were a captured nut that sit right there. Well, they were rusted, the bolts were broke off in there, so I just went ahead and ripped them out, and I've already got those holes drilled to the same diameter as the stud here. But the stud's got a nice ball end of it. It goes in and locks in place. When you put the hood down, it captures it. So instead of using that, I'm going to get rid of that. This is what my hood latch is going to be. What I might end up doing though is actually putting, I've seen this done also, to where not only do you have these are basically your main latch, but as a safety precaution, using a piece of cable attached to the hood. Once you get it down, the cable is only maybe about 7 inches long, but you'll have a ring down here that you attach it to. That would basically be your safety. These are here though should be more than enough to handle the hood latching, especially since you have one on either side. And these are here also allow you to set your hood height, because when this clicks and captures, these will help set your hood height, and also some rubber bumpers that you can install will help set that also. So this is where the old, these were where bumpers were at, the hood bumpers. This would basically set your height for your hood, keep everything straight. And this is where they used to bump at. It's a piece of steel that's stamped and it's tack welded in place there. But this is pretty much right center of this hole right here is where it was hitting. There's one on both sides, and that's pretty much the exact same on both sides of the car. So all you really got to do is use the center of that as your center point. I'm going to do some double measurements to make sure everything is straight and lined. But from just seeing how everything's fitting, that's probably going to be right. But what I'll do is I'll use a hole saw to drill out the hood for this to fit in. You really only need, let me get y'all set up here real quick. You've only really got to drill out the hood to this diameter here, which is probably just a little over an inch. And then the bottom side here underneath the hood will need to be drilled out to allow for this to fit. But that's the plan. And I believe that will not be an issue getting all that to fit in place. But we'll try it and see and go about it. And if we mess something up, you know what? We got a welder, we can fix it. So one thing you can do, and what I have, and I had it in one of my boxes, I have an 1.5" hole saw, which should be the fit for this. So I went ahead and drilled it in a piece of scrap metal, just so I can stick this in here, test fit it, see how it fits. No wobble whatsoever. So the 1.5" hole saw works perfectly for this. The measurements that they have for this online is like 1.47 inches. So the 1.5" hole saw should be perfect for what I need. Anyways, this here test fits in this here perfect. With the backup on this here being the nut that will come in behind and tension it. And then on top of that, you have this here's threaded in 3 spots, and there are set screws that the kit comes with in different lengths, just in case you're not getting a close fit. Like, let's say the fit was this far out, but it's got set screws that you can stick in here that will tension everything super tight, keep this from rotating off, which is a really nice feature. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my hole saw. I'm going to do a couple quick measurements though, make sure that the center of this is the same distance from here, the same distance from the front. Same thing on this right here. Make sure this is the same from there to the front. That way I know this right here is perfectly in line. And I do know that this right here sits pretty much right there on that. I'll go ahead and do some re-verification though, just to make sure I know I'm right. And one of the things I can do is take the actual bolts, stick them in place, lower the hood down, but keep the bolts super high. Lower the hood down and see where those bolts hit. If the bolt heads hit right in the center of this right here, then you know you're good. So that's what I'm about to do right now. All right, so I've got the pins in, I've got lowered down, and the pins are sitting pretty much dead center of where that hole is, which would be perfect. So it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, because the way the pins fit in, they sort of guide in at an angle and then they lock in. This is not a straight hole, this is a tapered hole. So if they're off, I think you could probably get off a 1/4 inch total and you could still be all right. But we're aiming for close to perfect on these. And those pins are sitting almost dead right in the holes where they need to be at. So we're gonna call that good. Get this hood back up, get it drilled, and put those in temporarily and see how they latch. And there again, after we get them to latch, we can lower them down until the hood sits at its proper height. I got that drilled, and as drilling it goes, your center pilot pops a hole through the top. So what I'll do is I'll come from the top now to get the rest of it. Very good. All right, now we can let the hood down. And I want you to see this. I just let the hood down, and you can see the pins. There's one, there's the other. I mean, they're pretty much right on. And that out of alignment could also be caused by this radiator support right here not being perfectly flat. We can always adjust that by just bending it. Not the stud, but the radiator support will bend just a hair bit. So I'm gonna go ahead now and put a little bit of a block underneath the hood to raise it up so I can go ahead and drill these out. All right, guys, seem to have lost audio on these next couple clips, but right here, what I'm showing is that after I finished drilling the top holes, I came back with a larger hole saw and double stacked my hole saw so I could use my 1.5 inches as my guide, and I drilled it out larger for the nut to go on the bottom, and that works out just fine. And then I've got my studs there with the springs in place, and those springs just help lift the hood. It probably needs a little bit stiffer springs because the hood as it sits right now, it doesn't have any springs or struts or anything on the hinges, but I will I've got the struts ordered and I'll get those put on, and maybe the springs on the latches will work proper then. If not, we can always put some stiffer springs there. Just saying that now I need to lower the hood down, adjust the balls to their proper height, and that will take care of that. All right, guys, right here I wanted to show that these poppers where they're at now, that sheet metal there, it's not too thin, but it's kind of thin, and it could use a little support. So here what I'm doing, I'm lifting the hood. I'm going to show y'all, I might make a bracket that will sort of help hold these hood latches with a little extra support around the outside edge to help hold everything in place so that the hood is not flexing at all under load, as in wind going up underneath the hood. So I'm probably work on that this next week, makes like some brackets that'll fit up in there that'll help hold those latches in place. All right, we're on a different day now, and I'm going to continue working on some stuff. Motor mounts. So it is Wednesday night right now. Motor mounts, I called first thing Monday morning, talked to the guy there at Control Freak. He all of a sudden sort of seemed panicked. He said, all right, he said, give me an hour, I'll call you back. I'm like, okay. So calls me back probably about an hour later and says, dude, he goes, I am so sorry. He goes, I put the order in and part numbers have changed and stuff, and they don't know what happened to the order. So he said, we're gonna get to work on them right now. He said, in fact, he said, I called over immediately after we talked, and so I think they already had the first mount cut already, ready to weld. And then I've already got the not shipment, but the pre-shipment information from UPS already sent. So that was yesterday. So, within 24 hours, they already had stuff lined up. So hopefully I'll probably see it this week, probably by Friday, because every time they've ever done the pre-shipment order email, I usually have it that week. So that and those the nuts and the washers for the steering linkage, and we'll be set to go. But he apologized. He said he was sorry. I believe him. They just did a big moved the buildings. They've changed their website. They've changed their catalog as far as part numbers and stuff. So I'm not gonna, say anything bad about them. They've been good to me. They've got me the parts. The parts work. The parts fit. So I'm not upset at all. It was when I realized, it was about 6 weeks ago when I realized those parts were missing. And it took a couple calls. I called the first time, then I called the second time about a week and a half, 2 weeks later. And I've been waiting like 3 to 4 weeks more. And they're a big business. Slips their mind, I understand. They're making it right. Anyways, we're gonna get started. So in this video, I'm doing a couple things. I did the hood latches, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just start doing some welding. I know everybody likes when I do the welding. So I'm gonna get started on what I've been neglecting, which is the window. First thing I'm gonna do though, I am gonna weld this one. I already got me a piece of metal here cut for it. I'm gonna weld that up, and I've already got a piece of metal cut for it, and I'm gonna weld up the hole in the fender. Those are my first twos. And then I'm gonna start taking and cutting out small sections. Probably I'm gonna start here in this corner and cut out this small section right here, along here and up and back over, and make that. And we're gonna start there. And then I'll do this intersection up to here where the rust stops again. And then I got a small section up here to do. And then I probably won't get it all done tonight, but I'll definitely get started. You know, and I got a couple small sections like right there and right over there to do. But this is, you know, the beginning to finally finishing out this. This is a part that I have just been procrastinating about. And I don't know why. I think I'm afraid I'm gonna really mess something up, but it's already messed up, so you know what? I can only make it better, I feel like. There again, you see the clip holders, these little studs. Excuse the paint on my fingers. So I've got new ones of these. The ones I have are stainless, and they're rivets. So you after you redo this channel here, you drill a hole, put it in there, and it's a stainless rivet, and it rivets it in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up, and this one right here will get, you know, popped off whenever I cut this section off, and this one will get probably taken off. So that, you know, there's several of them here that are gonna stay though. There's one here though that looks like somebody took a hammer to and beat it, so I'm gonna have to drill that one off and replace it anyway. And I'm probably gonna, you know, try to, like sections like this here where this metal has been separated, it's ate away, I might just take and put a piece of flat metal there and re-weld. And a lot of this right here is gonna be body sealed anyway. And your butyl tape, the tape that holds the windshield in place, actually it sits on this bottom side here anyway. So this doesn't get the butyl caulk from the caulk gun. You actually have a tape that fits the width of this, and it goes all the way around, and then your glass sits on that tape. So I just gotta get everything lined up. And I think I have the butyl tape already, but and I have, you know, the glass and everything, but the glass will be one of the closer to probably one of the last things that go in. Because I'll get the dash all in, I'll get the back all in. The door glass might be in, but it'll be close to one of the last things. But on these cars, working on them, I realized working on this dash, getting things done here, is a heck of a lot easier when the glass is out. And in fact, I actually did at one point, I was working on the dash of my other Javelin that I had, and I actually took the front glass out just so I could work on the dash. Because you can do it yourself. You can take this glass out, and when you take them out, it's nice. You can clean them up real well, and then you can reinstall the glass by yourself, pretty much. It's not too heavy, and I've got like the dual suction cup lifters. And if you have somebody to help you, it makes it even more easy. But just putting that butyl tape on here, laying it in place, you know, going around pushing it all up real like that, and then re-putting your clips and trim on are so easy. So working on these older cars, back when they were carbureted and everything is, you know, manual, but now this right here is my version. Everything, there's gonna be a lot more electronics, but we'll get there. Anyways, I'm gonna get started welding, get some of this right here taken care of. That way I can mark this off the list. Get these welded up, get it finished. That's my goal. Let's get to it. All right, so what I've done is, I don't know if you saw it, but before I went over there, I had marked where my rivets were for the window. I took this piece of metal, cut it out, and I went over and I basically formed it into what was there already. Because this over here was so ate out, I didn't know exactly where the actual curve started. That over isn't so bad, so I formed this metal to that over there, brought it back over here, flipped it upside down, which over there I marked on this piece of metal where the rivets were at over there, brought it back over here, and I've lined it up. That lines up just perfect. But there is how the metal is. So I'm going to mark up here where I need to come to. I need to come and cut right there. And I need to cut right there. That will be my piece that'll go in here and to form that. And then I will cut another smaller piece to finish this here back off. But these are here where my rivets are on this side. And I just did that. That way I knew exactly where to put the bend at in this corner. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start lightly tacking this in place, getting everything lined up the way it needs to be. So what I'll have to do, the thickness of the gap changes as this angle comes around. So right here it's kind of thinner, and then it gets thicker. This here sort of gets deeper and deeper from here to here as it curves. So right now, this right here is actually higher than this right here. This right here, when this is in place, it actually fits perfectly along this line, but it's high right here. So what I'll do is I'll tack this in place, then come back and grind this to fit into that. This needs to go like that. And what I'll do is I'll tack this first. I know this all is going to bend and line up like it's supposed to. Actually, I'm just going to take a snip off of this corner. And that sort of helped it right there lay down a bit better. That looks really, really good. The curve is just like the other side, which is what I was going for. So now that I've got this curve built, I can use it as my template for the other side. So that's the plan. I'm gonna go ahead and probably tomorrow I'll finish welding up this and grinding it back, getting it kind of flush with the body, and we'll probably work on some of the other ones also. But it's late and I want to go to bed. So you guys have a good night. These areas will get cleaned up pretty well, and then they'll also get some body filler to help smooth the transition out. I'm not really worried about getting it completely cleaned up. I am going to smooth over the edges, but as far as you know, any imperfections as far as little pots and stuff like that in it, body filler will work, because once the windshield goes in, then you have the trim, and the trim covers up this corner here a little bit, so it's not even really a bigger issue. As long as I have the, I think it's about 1/8 of an inch out from that point on is fine. It'll be all right. You won't even really realize it. That's why I'm not completely cutting out everything. And I don't know, I think I didn't video it, but after I put this piece right here in, I've actually got another piece that slid in here just in this one section because of the curve. I could not get the shape right with just the one piece. I had to do it in two. So there's one piece that runs all the way along here, and then there's another piece that runs from here to here that sort of goes in further at an angle this way, and that's what gives me my distance. I measured over on that side and got the distance from here to here, and that's what I did there. And tacked it to get my distance, and then leaned it back against here and welded it in. But like I said, any imperfections in metal forming, we'll just get a skim coat and sand it out. And there again, it'll all look good once I'm done with it. Well, anyways, guys, so I've got that over there welded up. I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more. I've got one right here. This here's a pretty big one, and then this pretty much this whole driver's side is ate up. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to make this right here in two sections. I'm actually just going to cut out this section right here, make a piece, then pretty much make a long strip that goes from here all the way up. And I'll probably end up chewing a lot of this here out and re-welding it. It's pretty bad, but this right here is by far the worst section of the windshield. So anyways, those over there, you know, done. I'm gonna continue on. I ain't gonna video this. I just gotta finish it up. After I get that done, that's pretty much all of the repairs, except for just going through and welding everything the rest of the way. Come back, and I've got a few little minor welds here and there on this right here to finish up, and then of course, you know, the plates I put in place in there. But the main thing is motor mounts will be here probably, I don't know if they'll be here this week or weekend. They might be. They've already been shipped. So we'll get the motor in, transmission, figure out the tunnel. That's a big one. Figuring out that transmission tunnel, where it needs to be at. Get that locked in place, and then get drive shaft measurement. After that, it's pull all the suspension back off again and go through and weld everything up. You know, that's the whole thing about this. Here's you know, assembly, disassembly multiple times just to make sure everything is jiving, since none of it is stock in the car. You know, a few other little things here and there. Besides that, it's just I was going to get a set of those aluminum hinges that have the struts instead of the springs. I'm probably still going to get a set of them, but what I did was, and it was, you know, pretty economical to do it, was to just get the ball ends and the struts for like a quarter of the price of the whole hinge, and put them on the stock hinges here, just to have them for right now. And then whenever I get ready, I can order the hinges and put everything back together for what I want. I got a few other things coming in. Trying to think what else I got. I got a roll cage for it. That'll be here a few weeks. It's just going to be a 4-point. It's going to bolt down to the floor back here, and I'm going to make the roll cage to where you can take it apart. I'm going to have those joints, the 2-bolt joints, holding it together in a few spots. But it's the, what they call it, the runner version. So it'll be a 4-point, and it will allow people to still get in the back seat. It will run from the floor, though, up over the other side, and then it's got 2 runner bars that run back along the roof of the glass, and then drop down into the tray package area here and bolt up to this flat plate right here behind the seat. And that will allow that, and also allow me to probably use a 4-point, not a 4-point, but a shoulder belt for the rear seat also. That was another thing. These cars did not have a shoulder belt for the rear seat. They only had lap belts. So just for safety, I'm going to probably use the roll cage as a hold fast for the shoulder belt for the rear seats. And that might be that. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's anything else I was going to work on right now. But I'm going to finish up this right here, and then we'll hopefully get another video out here in another week or so, once I get the motor mounts in. I get get this motor put in. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. We didn't get too much done on it this roundabout. You know, you have those videos. Sometimes you get a lot done, sometimes you don't get much done. It just depends on job step and parts, right? So next week, hopefully we'll get more parts in. We'll be able to really push forward with the motor mounts and get everything done. After that, like I said, more welding, just welding up everything that we've adjusted and fixed, and go from there. I'm probably gonna go through and start installing some different things back and forth, just to make sure everything is still fitting correct, since we have changed so much on the car. Like the doors, I need to reinstall those just for a moment, just to check a few things, and then I'll probably pull the seats off the wall, put them in when that roll cage comes in, because I want to have the seats in place, know where my full rear position is and the full front is, because the hoop that goes over the main hoop, I'll probably try to make that somehow or another, use that for my front seat belt as far as the shoulder strap, instead of going back to the I guess the B pillars, which is the main slope. I think I've showed that in the past, how the front seat belt's shoulder belt is a non-adjustable. They make adjustables now that you can trade out for it, but it sort of gets in the way. But the shoulder belt for the front seats comes from the rear pillar next to the passengers. So I'm kind of not crazy about that. Some people like it. I thought it was neat back a while back, but nowadays you have so many options. And so if I'm doing a hoop anyway, a roll cage, I'm probably going to try to use the roll cage as my shoulder anchor. And same thing for the rear seat. Use the, what do you call them, the race runner rails that go through the package tray area as a shoulder anchor for the rear seats. Try to make this car safe, reliable, and there we go. So yeah, just all that, you know, and I've got a few other little tweaks here and there I'm wanting to do to a few little things. When we get to actually starting to build the car out and body work and stuff like that takes a lot of time, you know. My favorite part of it, the electrical. I know everybody's like, oh, I don't know why you like that. I actually enjoy doing the electrical because you can start adding stuff to the car, like the power door locks, power windows, the cruise control, the paddle shifts, you know, all that. And for me, actually wiring that stuff up, testing it, seeing it work, something that's never been on the car that's actually working now because of how you set it up. And then I'm going back and forth. I was going back and forth between the wiring harnesses. So Painless is a good harness. That's what I used on my last one. Everybody's saying American Auto Wire, they're a good company, but also one that I found, and I guess they're a well-known brand, but I had never heard of them before, was Coach Controls. Coach Controls, they actually have a few modules that you can add to the car, like one window press down. So going to electric windows, they have it to where you can press the button once, long hold, and it will, or short press, and it will roll down itself in one press, you know, like newer cars. Stuff like that, little add-ons. And then other little things, you know, I gotta get those new mirrors put on, the ones from the Cutlass, and that's another reason why I won't get the doors put on. I guess it's sort of a weird reason, but I want to put the doors on so I can put the mirrors in place, not permanent, but put them in place so I can make sure, and also have the seat in place. That way I can sit in the seat and make sure the mirrors are lining up in the correct position for the car. They should work. If they don't, then I can just send them back. I can just use regular manual mirrors. You know, no inside control. Just reach out the window and adjust it. Which wouldn't be a bad option, but it's just, you know, I kind of like having it to where you can adjust it from inside the car. And the cables are long enough that I might be able to make those manual mirrors, the controls, reachable from the driver's seat, both sides, you know. Something that I'm thinking about that I haven't really mentioned is the dash. So you know how much work I've done with the dash work on this car, changing over to different switches, and going to be changing the instrument cluster and all that. But one thing about it is there is a section of the dash, they called it the cockpit, and it was pretty well named because when you're sitting in the driver's seat, it wraps around. And from the passenger side, really, I mean, they had to lean over to really reach anything over in the driver's side as far as like a radio or whatever. I'm sort of thinking about cutting that partition area that's between the driver and passenger out, flattening it out, and putting a screen in there. I know that's a lot of extra work. For me, it doesn't really ruin the car, and it might be a necessity also if I have to adjust this tunnel. If I have to push this tunnel up at all, it's going to change some things. So it is what it is. If I have to cut and adjust, and there again, the reason I'm wanting to put a screen in the dash in that area is this will have the reverse camera. It will have a Bluetooth radio, like Android Auto, and I'm looking for a larger screen for GPS navs like that. But where it's going to sit, it kind of sits low anyway, so it'll fit in there. It'll fit in there right. Shouldn't have any issues with it interfering with anything else in that area. Because the only thing that would have been in that area before was the radio. Also talking to, I don't know if I've mentioned this in the video anytime, so talking to, what's it called? Vintage Air. I know what kit I'm probably going to use now, so I'll probably get that ordered in a couple weeks, maybe next month in July sometime. We might get that ordered, and that'll be nice too, because once I get my motor in, I can get that in and get that sort of mocked up in place also, as far as where my heater lines, AC lines are going to be coming from. Can't think of much else right now, but it is what it is. Yeah, I just need to get the welding done, and go through and coat everything good with primer. Sand it all down, get the rust off of it, coat it with primer, get the dust off the car, and then start doing body work. And that's where we're at. This car has come a long ways, but we still have a long ways to go. We're not even, I'd say in the grand scheme of things, we might be 20% done. And if anybody knows anything about working on these old cars, 20% done, you're still a long ways away. As far as body work takes a while, electronics, especially when you're adding so much new stuff to one of these old cars. If this was a straight, everything manual carbureted engine, I could probably shave 6 months off the timeline, if not more. So we're getting there. There's a few other things also I've got to add to the car, but it'll come, and there'll be many more videos, and I hope everyone's enjoying, and I hope everyone might be able to learn or also help teach me a few things along the way. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying videoing it. I'm videoing it mainly for myself. Going back through and watching what I've done and editing the videos helps me realize things as far as what I need to work on, what I need to straighten, to get the car process going smoothly. Sometimes my wife come in here the other day. Sometimes I just come in here and I sit and I stare at things, just to get an idea of the direction I need to go with it. But that's that. Sometimes you just have to look at stuff for a while to really get an idea. Anyways, we're gonna stop there. You guys have a good night. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see y'all later.